Hi, welcome to Kin's Corner. This presentation is the fourth installment in my special education series. Last time, I asked you, the audience, to submit questions and comments relating to special education. Some of my colleagues responded and were kind enough to provide me with some questions and some suggestions. Thank you. Let's begin. The first question from a parent is, how can I be more effective in communicating my child's needs to his school? To be an effective parent and advocate for your child, you must be first vocal. Talk to your child's teachers and administrators and back up your claims with supportive information. Follow up on your requests by putting them in clear writing, dated, and signed by you. Be sure to CC the principal of the school and others if necessary to increase transparency and accountability. This can be done in an email or paper pen and hand delivered. In other words, leave a paper trail and keep records. The second issue from a parent is, I am concerned about my child having a special education label and record. Will this affect him in the future? The answer is no, it should not. This is because special education records are privileged information and confidential. Only the parent or legal guardian can grant permission for release of special education records. Even the federal, state, and local governments made it illegal to discriminate against individuals with special education records, or IDEA, which is covered in my first presentation on special education. As a matter of fact, I know several young people with previous special education records that had no problem getting into college and even graduating with honors. Some of them are now firefighters, policemen, teachers, administrators, and successful business people. Their special education past did not affect their adult education or careers. They've adopted. The next parent concern is, being a special education student carries a stigma. Some of the students in my child's school teases my son and makes fun of him. What can I do to stop this? First, I should point out that this is a form of bullying which is not tolerated in any public school. Anti-bullying is a school-wide initiative. The New York City Department of Education takes this very seriously. As the parent, you should immediately inform your son's teachers and principal. They are obligated to act immediately to stop this type of harassment. Follow-up education and sensitivity training can help prevent such occurrences in the future. In addition, at-risk counseling can also be a supplement and support. The fourth question is, how can I get my child tested over the summer when his public school is closed? Well, every borough is supposed to have a summer per session evaluation site. Please discuss this with the IEP team at your child's public school for contact information and location of the test site before the end of June. They may even help you schedule summer appointments. The summer testing site's purpose is to complete assessments and send them to their students' respected public schools. These sites generally begin after the 4th of July and usually ends the last week of August. All cases that are incomplete will be forwarded back to the student's public school for follow-ups and completion of the IEP. Students attending non-public schools should go to their district committee on special education, as they are open all summer long. My suggestion is that if you anticipate a need for special services, please submit the referral no later than March 31st. The next question is it possible for my child's public school to arrange an alternate IEP team to test my child? The short answer is yes, but you need a valid reason to have an alternate IEP team come in to evaluate your child. For instance, I had a situation when a parent did not want me or my IEP team to test her youngster because we had already evaluated the student a little more than a year ago and determined he was not handicapped and therefore ineligible for special services. The parent disagreed and insisted that her child needed special education teacher support services and speech-language therapy, even though he was on grade level and exhibited no signs of speech-language impediments. This parent submitted a written request dated and signed by her and CC'd to my principal as well as the psychologist supervisor. The administrators decided that she can get a second opinion and assign an alternate team from another public school to perform the assessment on her child. The end result was that this alternate IEP team did recommend special education teacher support services or SETS and counseling, but no speech-language therapy. Parent was appeased. A related question is, what if I want my child tested privately? You have this option, except you must incur the expense unless your private insurance pays. Some agencies charge using a sliding scale basis. Others, like certain universities, may perform the assessments free of charge and are usually conducted by graduate students under the supervision of their professors. The next parental question is it better to get an evaluation at my child's public school or outside? In my opinion, it is always best to get an evaluation at your child's public school for several reasons. First, every public school has an assigned IEP team that will test your child in-house. This means you do not have to bring your child to a different location for testing, minimizing your workload and saving you time. Secondly, a more thorough evaluation can be performed because the IEP team at the school can interview the student's teachers and observe the student in his educational environment, making for a more accurate and thorough assessment. Third, the in-house IEP team can access resources in the school that can help support the student's needs, such as counseling services from the guidance counselor and social worker. After all, they are part of the school. Being members of the school, the IEP team is familiar with available resources and services not only in the school but also in the nearby neighborhood. An outside agency such as a hospital would not have these available to them. Lastly, the IEP team in the public schools are trained professionals. Not only are they licensed, most receive additional training with the Department of Education's Psychologist in Training program, or PIT, before they are assigned to their public schools. Not to mention that they are also fingerprinted and screened for criminal records. Finally, why are observations important? Many reported cases of students not doing well in a classroom oftentimes have extraneous causes. As a school psychologist assigned to a public school, I always observe students in his/her natural educational setting. My goal is to identify factors or variables that may impede a student's learning. Too often, we blame the child. In almost 40% of cases I observe, it was the environmental factors that negatively impacted a child's education. For example, an elementary teacher consulted with a parent regarding her daughter struggling in a classroom and reluctant to do classroom assignments or homework. She rarely passed any tests, so her mother wrote a referral letter to open up her daughter's case for an evaluation. After my team obtained consent to start testing, I immediately visited the student's classroom for an observation and took notes. The next day, I visited another classroom, science, and observed the student in a different educational setting. I noticed that there were some commonalities. This girl tended to sit in the back of the class in both settings. In addition, she tended to squint when looking at the teacher and the chalkboard. I then interviewed the parent and disclosed my findings. Her mother informed me that she should not be squinting because she wears her eyeglasses. I told her mother that I did not see her wear her eyeglasses in any of her classes, and her teachers did not even know she wears eyeglasses. After school, we called her daughter in to discuss why she is not wearing them. The girl stated that she looks, quote, funny with eyeglasses and that her classmates may call her Four Eyes. I asked her if this ever happened, and she said no. Her mother and I had a long talk with her, and she finally agreed to wear her eyeglasses in school. I even had a talk with the girls' teachers, and they said they would wear their eyeglasses as a show of unity. Her teachers even complimented her on how good she looks with eyeglasses and seated her in the front so everyone can admire her. After a few weeks, this girl showed significant improvements, completed homework assignments, and received passing grades on her examinations. She even started making friends. I then encouraged her mother to close the case, which she did as her daughter did not need special services. She simply needed to wear her eyeglasses and be more confident in herself. If you have a question related to special education, please comment below. I will do my best to respond. Thank you for watching this presentation. Please hit the like icon, subscribe, and activate the notification button so you can get the latest video. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.